Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone can hear me fine. I'm Vishak Seshadri. I'm a principal engineer in the technology operations team at Enova International. I'm an aerospace engineer by education, but a problem solver by profession. I started at Enova just over 11 years ago, and I've worked with them and built their reliability and resilience engineering process. So before I go any further, a little bit about Enova. Enova is a fintech company in a highly regulated space. Our mission is to help hardworking people get access to fast, trustworthy credit, and our vision is to close the world's credit gap. And to help us with our mission and our vision, we have our values. I love all of them. I can't really pick one over the other, which according to me makes them perfect. And that actually sets the stage for how we run our incident management process at Enova. The need to put our customers first and provide them with good options makes us come up with innovative solutions to problems at every part of our development and operations processes. We have a great team at Enova, and each of them are always operating as owners, coming up with very creative solutions, and that makes them accountable for results as well. And so today's talk is about how our incident management process has helped us evolve our DevOps and SRE practices. So before I talk about that, I quickly want to talk about what our incident process has evolved into, and then how it's helped us evolve. So our incident management process started back over a decade ago, and our first incident kind of set the foundation for us over time. It was a business problem, so one of our critical business processes started running slow because it couldn't handle customer capacity, and so it was just turned off without really investigating the use of it, the dependencies of it, and everything. Soon after, a few months later, another critical process started failing, and our business stakeholders escalated this issue to us. We started investigating this and noticed that this was actually dependent on the previous process that was turned off. So we identified the problem. We ran through our process, documenting what happened, where can we do good, what can we change, how do we improve, and documented the entire process and created what was our first incident report, or our incident report. And then we also, as part of that, identified recommendations in terms of what can be done on the original batch or original process that changed, that was shut down, and all the actions taken were documented. And this incident and the incidents that followed set up a pattern for us where business problems became production incidents. So we had stakeholders, we had business owners as part of these incidents themselves. Sometimes they were, because there was no one else available, product managers themselves ran our production incidents, and this kind of started building our process. And a great thing that happened because of this was the business owners started trusting us to run our process and get them solutions that they are requiring. But having product owners and stakeholders as part of the incident process slowly started fear of incidents. The engineers were a bit hesitant to call incidents. They wanted to just troubleshoot everything themselves, fix everything themselves, and so they weren't calling production incidents. So we realized that we should actually start removing the fear. And we did that. We just did that. So we started off with incident analysis reviews. Of course, before we did these incident analysis reviews, what we did were we made a few changes to the process. Our retrospectives started becoming in line with our values of operate as an owner. We really wanted to change the culture so that people don't get scared to run incidents. We also started changing terms so that it becomes more inclusive. Post-mortems became post-incident retrospectives. Incident commander or master of disaster, that's what we used to call our incident commanders. We renamed that to be production incident person in charge. We started, instead of focusing on single root cause analysis, we started focusing on mitigation and resolution. And then action items, for the sake of action items, were no longer focused on, and instead we started identifying contributing factors. What do you learn from the incidents? What are avenues for improvements? How do you resolve? How do you mitigate? How do you detect? Things like that. And then these incident analysis reviews grew up to be more inclusive and more quarterly and annual analysis. So instead of, apart from just running individual and post-incident retrospectives, we also started running quarterly and annual reviews. So we brought in a large representation from across our organization, people from business, people from regulatory teams like legal and compliance, engineering managers, engineers themselves, and started providing them information about what has happened, what did we do about these incidents, some data. We started tracking metrics at that time which made sense to us. We identified things like mean time to resolve, mean time to detect. This was a few years ago, and it really brought up removed this fear of incidents, and everybody was aware of what we were trying to do, achieving the aspect of learning from incidents and getting better from them rather than targeting specific goals about it. And finally, what we also did was we started celebrating wins. Failure is inevitable, and it's how we react at the face of failure that shows how resilient we are. So we wanted to showcase that. There were a lot of times where the actions taken by engineers and everybody involved during the incidents converted that incident from a potential high impact incident to a low impact mitigated resolution, right, resolved problem. And we wanted to celebrate that. So we called them saves, and we always call them out. And this was really a big change that happened, and the organization really showcased that we were focusing on resiliency and learning from incidents rather than just targeting what went wrong or who should be blamed or anything like that, right? So we were focusing on resiliency, and we could hence prove that we were targeting greater resiliency and not necessarily fewer incidents. And finally, we wanted to make the process easy. So back in the day, we were using a bunch of different tools, had everything from PagerDuty to status page to Jira reports and everything. But we wanted to make the process easy for everybody to use the process. So we developed a Slack application which tied into all of the tools that we were using, connected with PagerDuty to call incidents, connected with Jira to file incident reports, send communications and notifications to stakeholders using Slack itself, and made it easy for everybody to run these incidents. And in turn, this app also connected with our other tools to be able to identify who to call during incidents, who to involve during incidents, be able to get quicker involvement into incidents. So all that is great. So how did we DevOps? DevOps can mean different things to different people. To developers, typically could mean not having to deploy their code, someone else taking care of the code. Sorry. To developers, meaning that they could deploy their own code. And to operators, it could mean that, well, the developers are owning their code, and we are just facilitating those services. But to us, it meant this, and it also meant more. So we were able to use our incidents to take an evolutionary approach to incidents. Our annual and quarterly reviews gathered the eyes of stakeholders, and they really started noticing the data and metrics that were brought forth to them. They started seeking improvements with respect to those data and metrics, and so we wanted to target resiliency and stability using these metrics. One of them was time to detect. And so we wanted to standardize observability. We had various tools, or lack of visibility or lack of standardized visibility across our tools. At the same time, we also did not know who to get a hold of when there were incidents. So we created a simple catalog, a JSON of services and who owns it, what does it do, and tied them to all of our tools like Grafana, Datadog, New Relic, all of the things that we had, and all of this was available on a dashboard for ease of use. The alerts were automatically routed to PagerDuty to identify the right teams that it went to, and this really helped us detect incidents quicker. And then another goal was to reduce resolution time. Engineers noticed that if they were able to get to incidents quick enough, they were able to resolve them quickly because they knew what was happening. They had the knowledge necessary to resolve incidents. So we started slowly training teams, running trainings across all of the boards for teams to support their applications, running mock production incidents, things like that, and started shifting operations left that really got engineers owning their own incidents and supporting their own incidents as well. Now, our engineering teams are fully enabled to take care of their entire application, right from development all the way to production deployment, supporting their applications, and we are involved more in evolving the processes as needed. And our production incident process also helped us adopt new technologies. One such case was around AWS Lambdas. We wanted to use AWS Lambdas to do one of our critical processes. Sorry. And we were ready to move. We moved into production. But then once we did, we had some issues around cold start and AWS concurrency limits. So this caused an issue. We had the production incident. And so we realized that this process actually helped us in a way that it gave the engineers a chance to explain what was happening and re-architect the solution to accommodate for the limitations that were available. If it were the older days, I feel like we would have reverted back and would not have really been able to use newer technologies at all. So in conclusion, involving teams outside of our technology organization can help with learning from incidents. Pick the right metrics as needed from incidents that help your organization. Build processes that are simple and easy to consume to get the most out of incidents. And a good incident management process can help with facing and adopting new technologies as well. Finally, celebrate the wins whenever you get a chance to remove the fear of incidents. Thank you.